y'all? This is Eric with the Eric Wayne Band. Just wanted y'all to welcome out to Rock at Night.
Yeah. Are you ready? Hey, tonight I'm gonna take you on a little trip. We're going down south by the mighty Mississippi. I'm gonna take you to a place where lights never dim. Bring your mother, your brother, and your best friend. I'm gonna show you where they dance out in the street. They'll tell you all about your body heat. I'm not gonna talk about it, just gonna do it. Get on down if you feel up good. Now, get on down.
Our guest today is the very talented musician, singer-songwriter from Southern Virginia. He's been successful in creating a band with roots in country, rock and roll, and my personal favorite, Southern rock. These guys have been prolific this year, opening up for Colt Ford and Chris Janson, winning the Battle of the Bands, and entertaining crowds and fans at venues all over the place. Their schedule doesn't seem to be clearing up anytime soon, though. Please join me in welcoming Eric Wayne from the Eric Wayne Band to the Rock at Night airwaves. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hey, how we doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
We're doing just fine. We're doing just fine. Thank you for having us out here.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that we were able to get this together. So, you've been in this musical group since 2019. I was reading that you were a duo first, like in 2016.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
yeah. So when did your first EP come out and what was that process like?
Well, we started out as a duo, an acoustic duo with myself and the lead guitar player, Derek Kelly. And him and I just started playing around and really writing songs together. And then it came to notice that we were actually doing something with it. So we brought on the rest of the band and started working on the originals, and ended up started out with getting in a studio and just working out the kinks of things and really getting down to perfection. And everything came out wonderful. We used Final Track Studios in Roanoke, Virginia, and really got our songs going. I mean, it was amazing how quickly they came about. We went in the studio, and I think about 5 or 6 hours, we had 3 songs out and ready to have produced and mastered. So it was really, really exciting.
That's awesome. 3 songs. And so you mentioned Final Track Studios. Like, how did that all come about? Like, do you know somebody there? Like, walk me through that.
And I don't know if many musicians know, but in Roanoke, Virginia, they have a couple festivals throughout the year, and they have the Blue Ridge Music Festival, which usually a lot of the country artists come out to, and then they have the more of the I guess like the Battle of the Bands type festivals and things like that, where they have more of local talents coming in. And so actually the producer of the studio of Final Track Studios, he actually books for that event. For one of those events at least. And so he had contacted Brian, our drummer, and told him, he would love to get us in the studio and love to work with us a little bit. And but he first booked us as a acoustic trio because he didn't know much about us. And we played a show. We played I think it was about a 45-minute to an hour set with just an acoustic trio. And it ended up turning out into something a lot bigger. Skip, the head master chief of Final Track Studios, contacted us and had us coming back out and record some of the songs that he heard at the event. And he was just great to work with. He's a wonderful guy. The studio's great. And it really helped out that it was in Roanoke, where we're all based out of, so we didn't have to travel far.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you guys have like I said, a pretty busy tour schedule coming up. I was looking, you guys are going, like in January, I think you're going to go all the way down south to North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how have the lockdowns, I have to ask, like how have the lockdowns affected you all as a band and how have they affected you guys like personally?
Well, let's start with the band first, and then we'll break it down to personal. Because our main head master chief on the drum set, Brian McKee, just showed up. So I'm sure he would love to get an input on personal effects.
Sure.
But with the band, I mean, it's taken a huge toll. I mean, as any artist or musician knows, it really has changed the name of the game. I mean, it went from there's all of these music venues available to not having a venue to play in. And so when it first hit, when COVID first hit, we really didn't know what to do because nobody knew what was going to happen. So we started doing little online videos, live streams, and things like that to maintain our audience and to keep them busy with watching us. And it really ended up turning out a lot better than we thought. The live streams were huge. I mean, and as you can see, as any musician sees or anybody who listens to music, they can really show a lot more with live streams nowadays than they could in the past. So yeah, really with the band, it's really hit us hard with just live performances.
Yeah.
Booking. Other than that, I mean, we've been trying to book as much as possible still, even during this pandemic. And there's a couple places, in Virginia that continue to book, which is great. We love that. We hope they stay safe, and we hope, we stay safe as well. But mostly we've had to push out of the state of Virginia to actually get to live performance shows, which has affected us pretty hard.
Yeah, and from what I understand, that's really like live performances is really where you're getting the bulk of your revenue. Like sure, yeah, writing and that I think that's something that the audience doesn't understand quite well,
Right.
which I find interesting. And we'll get to this a little later because you did mention live stream and you definitely have a social media presence. So we'll get to that. But did you guys have were you guys that prolific in social media before the lockdowns, or did that just come about as a result of?
It actually, I would say, a result of more just the fact of, I mean, like you said, we started the full band in 2019, and we were just an acoustic duo before that. And so really pushing the social media during this time, I mean, people can't go out. So we had a lot of our fans contact us and say, you guys have literally gotten us through this pandemic, and we can't thank you enough, and we love watching the live streams, even if it's a stream from a dirty old basement that we're playing in. I mean, people are just loving it. So the social media has definitely gotten a lot bigger for us over this pandemic, which I guess is a good thing to come out of this. But then again, it's 2020, so everybody's getting hit pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so do we have Brian there yet?
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Hi, Brian. This is Anna Marie.
Hold on, he's wrong.
Oh.
He actually just automatically walked out of the bathroom.
Oh, geez. Great. No, because you wanted me to save the second part of my question about how the lockdowns have affected you. The first part was how it's affected your band, and you explained that. And then the second part of my question was, how have the lockdowns affected you personally?
Oh, that's just it. After you, Brian. Okay, hey.
Hey.
Okay, this.
Hey, Brian.
Me personally, I guess speaking of that, for me, this is how I actually get most of my income. Is I'm a musician, mostly with Eric, and then I do some freelance stuff on the side. So basically, ever since the whole pandemic hit, I've been stuck personally, me kind of doing odd jobs and stuff like that because I'm a grad student too. So it kind of hit hard for me. I know the rest of the guys kind of got hit kind of the same way with their actual jobs other than music.
Yeah, I hear you. So, has anything come out creatively? We were talking about your social media presence, and it seems to be really strong. I mean, that's how we became introduced anyway. But your creative process, how have the lockdowns affected your creative process? Have any new songs come about because of it?
Yeah, we've so just starting out with that 3-song EP at the beginning of this pandemic, we've came out with total of now we have 10 more originals than we had prior that we're trying to get in the studio and work on right now. So it's improved and really enhanced our creativity and writing and just performing and getting comfortable with everything.
That's awesome. So your song "Lookin'" it hasn't been released yet. I love that song. What was the
Thank you.
yeah? What was the inspiration for it?
That's actually hilarious that you said that. So a lot of people ask me what that one's about because I tell everybody about it. It's got a good backstory to it. But when I first met my wife, we went out on a date and we went to this winery event. And at the winery event, it was you pay a flat rate and it was all you could drink. So any woman, what do? They find the person that pours the most, right? Pours the biggest glass of wine, right?
Right.
And I'll never forget. There were, we had probably been dating for a couple weeks at that time, and I didn't know her too much. And next thing you know, she gets up on stage. It was a dueling piano bar, and next thing you know, she's up on stage with a tambourine. She has no musical talent whatsoever. I love her to death, but she has no musical talent whatsoever. And I remember just sitting down, looking at her, and I'm thinking, I've been looking for a girl like you for quite some time now. And that's how "Looking" came about.
That's awesome. When should we expect that to be released? Because I only heard the acoustic version.
We want to try to get it out by next summer.
Okay.
But, who knows? With this pandemic, we never know. There's, like I said, a lot of things are closed and a lot of studios aren't open. So we're looking to try to get in with, that's pretty funny. We're looking to get into a studio and really get this music out to our fans.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. Like most of the studios where you guys would actually lay down your tracks aren't even available to you guys. That's so then you
living out in the country in the mountains, where we find people that have little studios in their house and things like that, but to get the full band in there, it's been pretty rough.
Yeah. You have no choice then to be creative and keep writing more stuff.
Exactly right.
Where did I hear the cicadas? You guys were in a backyard and you were playing the harmonica, correct, Brian? Because you also play the harmonica.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, and so we
like to tell people he's a walking circus act because he does absolutely everything. He's unreal.
Really? What else does he play?
I play drums, a lot of different ethnic hand drums that usually require a bunch of different kind of styles and stuff to do. Guitar, harmonica, bass, vocals, kind of anything I can get my hands on.
That's awesome. So you mentioned ethnic hand drums. It's obvious where your roots are, but I always like to hear who your influences are.
I am a jazz and Latin trained musician, as that's where kind of my actual school, I guess, whatever, for about a year or so comes in. Mm-hmm. And then I just randomly kind of was on a lull for music I think I hadn't played in about a year, and I kind of knew Derek and just asked if I could sit in with hand drums, and then it kind of ran from there. And then basically I'll just come to Eric with a new instrument, just tell him I got an idea, and then I'll just show up to the gig with a new instrument.
So who is your favorite Latin musician? I know.
Okay. A hard one. Depending on the instrument, I'd have to say. Mm-hmm. I'm a big Afro-Cuban guy, or any Afrobeat, which my favorite Afrobeat musician is probably Tony Allen. He just died this past year.
Oh, wow.
Giant fan of, there's a group that's an American group named Antibalas. Love them. Probably, those are two of my biggest ones. My biggest influence musically is probably Jaco Pastorius, the jazz bass player. Mm-hmm. He's got to be probably one of my top musicians, him and Dennis Chambers, I would say.
That's awesome. I asked because my roots are are Cuban roots as well. So yeah, so I love the Afro-Cuban. I think Afro-Cuban music actually influences a lot more than what people think. So I'd love to. My ears perked up when you said that. So who do you guys have on your music apps now? Who are you guys listening to lately?
Really anything. We are open to any musician or any type of genre. A lot of people, the main question that we get is, can y'all play, say, you obviously get the Wagon Wheel and the Garth Brooks, but you also, we get people that that requests, Tyler Childers, and then you start pushing to things where people start asking for Prince and Queen and things like that. And we all are musicians. We all love to play music, and so we don't want to, I guess, limit ourselves. Is a good word for it. Limit.
Mm-hmm.
And so we try to play anything. I mean, from Prince to Queen to Harry Styles. I mean, you name it. But our main genres would be Southern rock, that country rock, Southern rock vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But we're open to anything.
Yeah, that's great. No, I did catch your Cream.
Yeah.
That was great. That was really great.
A lot
So
of people didn't expect that one.
a lot of people what?
Didn't expect that one.
No, that was completely unexpected. So for our listeners, you guys have to check out their acoustic version of Cream. You can find it on YouTube and Instagram. So my next question here, like I caught the band's appearance at the Harvester Performance Center.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that experience.
Well, the Harvesters, the performance there, it's down in Franklin County, Virginia, and I would say that's one of our top very professional music venues that you see a lot of country artists and more of the folk artists coming through Franklin County. And that was just literally caught off guard. They had just started doing live streams for local artists, and we reached out, and they immediately contacted us back. All of the sound engineers and everybody down at the Harvester were great. Performing down there was pretty fun because they had two different screens up. We're used to live streaming in a bar or a basement, not this really nice stage with all these setups and videos and stuff like that. So they had projector screens on each side of us that we could see. If you were watching the live stream, we could see you watching it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really cool because you could talk to the fans that are watching it, and you could see where they were really enjoying us performing. It was really nice, really nice.
That's awesome. And when did that take place? That was recent too, right? The summer?
Yeah, about right before the summer,
Mm-hmm.
I would say. I mean, it was right when this pandemic first hit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess it would be March.
Oh, wow. So yeah, that was early on. So how much exposure do you think you guys got from that?
It being with COVID just hitting and everybody was kind of freaking out in Virginia, trying to figure out whether they need to close their bars or close their restaurants or establishments. It definitely was huge for us because we hadn't been performing down in Franklin County much, maybe at a brewery or two acoustically. So it was nice to actually let them hear our real sound and our full band show. And it really helped us out with social media presence.
That's great. Do you think you guys will be doing the Harvester again?
Oh yeah, we talked to a couple of sound engineers, and they told us when we stepped off, you'll be back. Don't worry, you'll be back. So it was a really good feeling to hear that.
That is always awesome. What other like big venues do you guys have coming up, or do you what's on your wish list? If you don't have them booked already, what would be on your wish list?
I mean, obviously any music venue at this point because not really many things are open.
Mm-hmm.
So just getting back into performing the live shows and to people would be big. But at this moment, we've been talking with the owner of the Dr. Pepper Park, Waynette Anderson, and the Dr. Pepper Park is a music venue, outdoor music venue in Roanoke, Virginia, and that's where we opened up for Colt Ford, and she's been contacting us and saying that she's booking some major acts in 2021 that she's looking for us to open for. So we're really excited for that, and really excited to, at the end of this month, December 19th, we're actually in Raleigh, North Carolina at Tin Roof, which we're really excited about as well. Yeah,
that's great. That's kind of, I mean, people think of the South as all being clumped together, but that is kind of a trek for you guys, right? You guys piling up into a tour bus?
Piling up into a tour bus or a truck or a car or whatever you can get into, really. But yeah, it's about 3.5 hours.
Okay.
But for us, that's not too bad. I mean, we're willing to travel anywhere and everywhere as long as it's it's a good way to get us out there and enjoy it.
What's the furthest you guys have gone so far?
So far, I would say Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte so far, yeah. We're just kind of branching out now. Yeah.
I get it. I mean, it's when I read that you guys had just started in 2019, and then 2020 has basically just been this crazy mashed up roller coaster for everyone.
Yeah.
And I saw like you guys just still kept at it, and that's really good. It's really nice. I think it's inspiring for other people to see. And you guys even mentioned that your fans have thanked you for keeping up on social media. So that's my next question. Like what? And my cat's on top of my questions. That's awesome. So what are like the best, what would you say is the best thing about having a presence on social media, and what are some of the challenges that you guys are facing and kind of, overcoming when it comes to social media?
With social media,
Mm-hmm.
Well, having a social media presence is key, and especially nowadays with everything, technology is progressing, everything's progressing. So having a social media presence helps with everything, with trying to become a musician, with getting your songs out there, just talking to your fans, engaging with your fans, letting them know where you're going to be at. So it's a huge part, especially in booking as well. When you contact places and they're wondering, who are these people, and they look up your social media presence, they see, you've been in Charlotte, you've been opening up for Colt Ford, you've been playing at all these bars, it's a huge factor in being a musician. But the biggest factor I think that we've been having with, I guess, troubleshooting with social media would just be, I guess, reaching out to people outside of the East Coast. A lot of people on the East Coast, they're looking in Virginia, they're looking in North Carolina, they're looking in South Carolina, they're seeing who's open up for things. But, people down in, California and Arizona and Colorado, we haven't had too much engagement with them. So I think that's our biggest flaw right now with social media is we're not reaching out to them, and we would love to,
So what's your goal to expand with social media? Would you count that to be a part of it, like trying to reach out to potential fans?
Definitely. I mean, most definitely. That would be a major goal, to just continue to build and honestly continue to do what we love to do, and see people's excitement about what we're doing. I mean, that's the top thing.
Yeah. That's awesome. So getting a little personal again, like tell me what makes you all groove as a band. Like, do you guys hang out together? Have Thanksgiving together? Like what goes on at the Eric Wayne Band?
So yeah, I don't know if you've seen Brian's hair, but I tend to brush it quite often. No, I'm just kidding. We have braiding parties up here. No, I'm just kidding. No, I actually grew up with Derek Kelly, the lead guitar player. I grew up with him, playing sports and things like that, and then he contacted me after college, and really we just started, getting together and playing music. And then, like Brian said, he knew Derek from the gym and just contacted him, and he came out to a show and saw us play just a duo, and next thing you know, Brian's in the band. And then I think it's all just about, I guess, enjoying each other's presence. We don't really hang out outside of being musicians. I mean, if we're around each other, we're playing an instrument. Mm-hmm. If we're not, then we're having a beer or two. That's about it. I mean, it's not like we go over there and he hangs out with me and my wife or anything like that, but we're always playing music together.
Just a couple of guys hanging out with a guitar.
Bro time.
Yeah, I get it. So did you grow up in a musical family? Like what got you into this?
Yeah, so myself, I grew up in a family. My father was a drummer, my mother was a bass player, and my brother was a drummer as well. So what was the next step for me? I started out playing piano and actually progressed to the guitar. And just playing around, I mean, we were literally playing on Thanksgivings and Christmas. It's like we got our own family band. It's unreal. But I think that's what really pushed me I guess, to becoming a musician and actually enjoying it and seeing the enjoyment that comes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know. So yes, I guess I did grow up in a musically inclined family.
What about the rest of the guys in the band?
I did not grow up in a musically inclined family. I'm actually the only musician in my family.
What's that like?
It's kind of different. I grew up in a really, really kind of rural kind of upbringing, so real country, everybody kind of like worked on cars and milled stuff and kind of stuff like that. It was just real labor. And I did that, but I always had like a real love for the arts, even from like when I was a little kid. I used to draw any kind of like art medium. I would try to get my hands on and try to work with. And as I got older, I just kind of gradually found music. I think I picked up drums the first year of high school, and then it was just something that kind of naturally came to me. And then I just started picking up different instruments as I could.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
Derek Kelly, Derek and Frank Hatfield. Frank's the bass player, but Derek Kelly, he's been he's just great at everything. Growing up, he was awesome at everything, and he actually started out as being a drummer, and then picked up a lead guitar and just started shredding on it. And then he's just unreal. He blows my mind every time I see him play. But Frank Hatfield, actually, I'm not sure if Frank grew up in a musically inclined family. But him and his wife and his family that he has right now is very, very, very talented when it comes to the arts. He also works at a music shop in Christiansburg, Virginia. And so that's pretty sweet for us. That helps us out a lot.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet you can break out some, and maybe not record, but just break out some instruments there and record something quick for Instagram.
Have you been following us around?
Yes, I've been following you guys. That's
something that we're trying to do.
Yes, I'm actually, I'm quite impressed by what you guys are producing and putting out there, and I love being able to get to meet and interview bands as they're first starting out. It's just always such an interesting story to me, like the origin stories, like where
they come from, and what were they doing, and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and like I said, I know I'm probably repeating myself, but it is such an inspiration to see a group of guys, a group of talented guys, with a schedule as strong as yours right now.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, especially during these times. So
yeah.
It's a good thing, and you guys should feel accomplished for it. So I just have a couple more questions because I don't want this to take up too much of your time. But so, what's next for you guys? Like what, of course we're looking at the pandemic, but what's next? Like what are your aspirational goals?
Our goals are always to do this for a living. I mean, like I told you earlier, we work separate jobs outside of being musicians and performing. And so all of our goals are always to perform for a living and to travel and to push pretty much as much music as we can. I mean, we enjoy it. A lot of people ask us, well, how do you go from a 9-to-5 job every day to, going to a bar late night and playing for 3 or 4 hours? And I tell them all the time, I said, it's what we love to do. It's not a chore. It's not a job. We love to do that. And you can see it with our music, and if you ever get a chance to see us live, I mean, the energy is just unreal. So our major goal is just to be able to do it for a living.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I totally hear you. Doing this, what you love as far as like that creative outlet, it doesn't feel like a job, and
not one bit.
Yeah, I hear a lot of musicians say that, and I think that's a big driving force. And yes, of course, I would love to see you guys live. I'd love to photograph you guys live. That would be my goal for 2021. Let's see if we can make something happen.
We'll get it working.
Yeah, let's do this. So, like, where would you like to be in 5 years? Like 5 years from now, 2025. Like what?
2025.
Yeah.
We would hope to be, traveling with either, a major act, touring either overseas or, traveling either up and down the East Coast. I mean, just doing it for a living and enjoying it. Because I think a lot of people, put stress on it, and it's not something that you should be stressing about. It's what you love to do, and you're doing it because you love to do it. And if it's what you love, then it's going to turn out to be what you want it to be. So I think 5 years from now, we're hoping to be pushed even harder and even further.
I love it. Well, you certainly, have all the ingredients to be able to make that happen. And I'm sure you have a tremendous fan base, and I wish you all the luck for sure.
Thank you. We hope it continues to grow, and we hope for good things to come out of 2021, and for this COVID outbreak to just end.
Yes, and people be safe. So just to wrap things up, do you want to plug in where you're going to be? Like, give us a little plug as to where you're going to be the next I guess 6 weeks or so. Tell the fans like what venues you're going to be playing.
Definitely, we can do that.
Okay.
This Friday, we are actually in Madison, Virginia, at Ball Top Brewing, just the acoustic duo. So, like I said, and I don't know if you've checked out or who all has checked out our social media pages or what we're doing. But we tend to travel around with different types of bands. We have a duo show, we have a trio acoustic show, then we have that full 4-piece. So this Friday we're out at Ball Top Brewing in Madison, Virginia. December 19th, we were in Raleigh, North Carolina at Tin Roof. We are super excited for that one. So if you're coming through Raleigh, or if you're coming in North Carolina, come on out, show us some love. We like to have a good time, good vibes. So we hope to see everybody out there. But other than that, in January, we're at the Dam Grill in Huddleston, Virginia, or Bedford, Virginia. And it is a small town grill that started pushing local music here recently during the pandemic, and a lot of people from that area, there aren't many venues for people to play at, or bars. There's probably a bar every 60 miles. So this is nice because it lets people come in there and listen to live music and local talent. I actually missed one. December 26th, we are in Roanoke, Virginia at our hometown favorite bar. That's Martin's Downtown. If you're ever coming through Roanoke, Martin's Downtown is the place to be for live music. Staff is great. Everybody's wonderful there, and the sound there is just amazing. Other than that, we're looking into February and March, and we're all over the place with different venues and shows like that. But for December and January, check us out. Let us know if you're ever coming through Roanoke or North Carolina. We would love to see y'all's face, and love to meet new people.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you. Well,
Of course.
thanks, guys. This has been a super duper pleasure. Again, this is the Eric Wayne Band with Rock at Night.
You're listening to Rock at Night.
The introductory song, Get On Down, is from blues artist Billy Bass Alford. Look for his music at ReverbNation.com.